The lake seemed pretty good, pretty calm. It was over there at the park. All right. I'm driving this van here. I had to come from a pull-apart. I don't know if you all have pull-aparts where you are, but it had a check engine light on, which is still on right here. I don't know if you can see that. Check engine light is on. And the problem was an EGR valve low flow code, but when I touched the wiring, it went away. And it did it more than once, so I know there's a problem somewhere up there with the connection. Yeah, there it is. See that Nissan Murano still sitting on the side of the road. We get here behind it. There it is. All-wheel drive. I think I'll put the transmission card there so they'll know. Where they can go to have this vehicle repaired. What I'm going to do is show you about a Chrysler Pacifica. There is another shop that had a Chrysler Pacifica come into there. It was a 2008 Chrysler Pacifica. It had what did it have? It had a 6-speed transmission, and it was an all-wheel drive, so it had a transfer case on there. And what happened was the transfer case blew up. So the transfer case blew up, and a used one cost $1,500. A core cost $600, one that doesn't work. So he wanted to know if there was anything that I could do in order to make this transfer case work or change it into a 2-wheel drive. So that's what we're going to be showing you on this video. How to take this transfer case, if it's not completely damaged, and make it into a 2-wheel drive transfer case by just using it as a dummy. So all we're going to do, use it as a dummy. So you will see exactly what I did, and it worked very well. So it changed it into a 2-wheel drive. So we're going to get to that video. What we're looking at right now is the transfer case, and I had it welded because the gears blew through it and cracked the case, and the crack was running. So I didn't want this to continue running and crack up because of the vibration that may be inside of with the vehicle. So we welded it up, and it's going to only serve the purpose of being used as a dummy anyway, a holder. Now this comes out of a Chrysler Pacifica 2008 that had a 6-speed transmission. Okay, so take a good look of how this transfer case looks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the splines, and you'll see that I'm going to do a close-up of that. Right here you see the splines. These splines actually engage to the differential that is inside the transmission. You do not want these to touch, so we're going to cut that spline off, completely off, and make sure that it can't touch. And what it's going to do, the shaft that's right there to the right, which is the passenger side axle shaft, is going to do exactly what it does. Slide through that transfer case where the transmission can turn just the front wheels. So what we're going to do, we're going to start to cut that spline. Now what I'm doing here, I'm putting water on this transfer case, the part that I'm cutting, because it has a seal on the inside, and I do not want the seal to melt because of the heat that's coming from the grinding wheel grinding on that metal there. Now that inner seal, what it does is it makes sure that transmission fluid and transfer case fluid does not mix. Okay, in this case, the transfer case is not going to have any fluid in it at all because it won't be being used. However, you don't want your transmission fluid to leak inside the transmission case also, or excuse me, the transfer case also, because then your transfer case will be full of transmission fluid, and if it wasn't welded completely where there aren't any cracks, then it will leak out of there. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to keep that seal intact. And by the way, I'm going to show you what else you can do also to ensure that the transmission fluid does not go inside that transfer case. Now what you want to do, you want to grind, after you chop that spline off, you want to grind it back as far as you can. Again, the object is to not let that spline engage with the differential that's inside of the transmission. Again, we're turning this vehicle into a two-wheel drive only. And another thing, when we do this, and when you bolt up this dummy transfer case, you want to make sure you do not hook up your drive shaft. The drive shaft that goes from this transfer case back to the rear wheels, leave it out. You don't want to make a mistake and put it in. In this case, that shaft won't turn because it's locked. You don't want to have any problems. You leave your drive shaft out. That rear end to touch this at all.
Yeah.
And then now what I could do, since this won't move, I'm going to put some seal on here.
Yeah.
Once I put that in, that'll make sure that something don't go in there. It's nothing going to come out because there's no
in there, period. Yeah.
Right. So I can put the seal all around here and make sure the transmission fluid don't leak in there either. Because it's going to go up against here but it's going to be going through here. This is why you're going to need that seal here. That seal here, because that transmission fluid goes through here and it's blocked right here, coming out here, but it won't go inside because it's a seal right there.
Okay, now you said the transmission fluid.
Once you bolt this up,
yeah,
you bolt this up,
yeah,
the transmission fluid is going to not go through here, but it will come through here.
Oh, okay, it will go through.
And when it comes through there,
okay, so it don't come out.
It'll come out here
and leak.
And
okay,
it won't leak because the seal is up against here.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But it won't go inside because there's another seal.
Okay.
Right there inside.
Oh, okay. All right. I see.
Okay, so this is how the transfer case will look with the shaft or the spline cut. And what I'm doing here now is putting some seal all around the part that was cut and on top of that rubber seal that's down in the transfer case. This is to ensure that there won't be any transmission fluid leaking into that transfer case. Now, this seal all is gas and oil resistant, and I've used it a lot to fix a lot of things. Transmissions that were cracked, I was able to fix it and stop the leak. So this seal all is pretty good. It's pretty good. You let it sit and it'll harden. Okay, now this is how the transfer case will look and how it will sit in the vehicle with that passenger side axle shaft extended into the transfer case.